name is Vivek Ramswamy. I said, I don't know. I said, I think he's Irish.
That's right.
So Vince called me that night. He said, do you think he would mind if I called him Sam? That's okay, too. So thanks, Sam. Vivek, we are so proud of what you have done.
Thank you.
And you are doing
Thank you.
it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Vivek's 4 pillars. Ann, can you hear me? Good. 4 pillars. Family, religion, patriotism, hard work. Now, who would not like that? And with that, who's that? Who said that?
Sherrod Brown.
So with that, here's Vivek, maybe Sam.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. It's good to see you. That explained why you called me Mick Ramaswamy the first time. That was the Irish version. I just want to give a round of applause to Frank Courtney and Vince here. These guys pull this group together because they care about this country. You don't have to be doing what you're doing. I appreciate that. You did it in my campaign. You're doing it to support Bernie. You're doing it because, like the people in this room, we're worried we're not going to have a country left. And I say this in a very personal way. I have 2 sons. One of them is 4, one of them is 2. We took them to the state fair. Their favorite part of politics is going to all the fairs across the country. If they're in high school before we get this right, I don't think we have a country left. I don't say that in some type of hyperbolic, exaggerated way. Maybe we'll call it the United States of America, maybe. But it'll be a hollowed out husk of the country that our founding fathers set into motion 250 years ago. And so we live in one of those moments in our history. It's like a 1776 moment in this country right now. And I mean that in a positive way, actually. Right? What a special time that was to be alive in the spring of 1776. I think 2024 is our 1776. And it's up to us. I'm going to be very frank with you today. I am worried about where we are right now. I'm not going to give you some type of pep rally about how we're going to win this in a landslide. I don't know, actually. The punchline is going to come down to what people like you in this room actually step up and do. But I'm worried about the next 3 months. I think there's 2 paths for us in the GOP. One is that we continue to make the mistake, and I do think it's making a mistake, to obsess about what the other side puts up. Got Joe Biden for a year and a half. We trained our fire on Biden. Turned out to be an optical illusion. Turned out to be a trick. 18 months of financial and political capital wasted on an opponent who, let's be really honest, they knew wasn't actually going to be the person they were going to put up. Got somebody they put up who did not go through a primary. This is Kamala Harris's advantage. She didn't have to go through a primary. So she comes out, you don't know what she stands for, and that's an advantage. They'll wave in whatever direction the wind blows on a given day. Even the thing about Tim Walz, right? He's got adopted some, I would say, far left radical policy positions as governor. But the deeper thing to watch is even Kamala Harris and they were initially moderates when they ran for their respective positions. Walz in Congress built a reputation for himself as a centrist moderate, but then he bends the knee. Kamala Harris ran as a centrist Democrat in California before actually becoming a radical progressive that she's become. That's almost more frightening. We're not up against these individual candidates, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Sherrod Brown. They are puppets of a system. We're running against a system. That's what we have to keep in mind. And I think the way we're going to win it this year isn't by relentlessly playing from behind. And I do think we've been playing from behind. I don't think we're going to win this by just picking on the individual criticisms of one candidate after another. If so, we're missing the point. We're going to win this November by rediscovering who we are and what we actually stand for. Not just as Republicans, but as Americans. It is our 1776 moment. That's what our founding fathers did. That's what it's up to us to do today. Right? What do we actually believe in? What do we stand for? We believe in meritocracy. What is meritocracy? It's a system where no matter what your God-given skills are, and by the way, not everybody has the same God-given skills, and that's okay. That's a good thing. That's true diversity. But whatever your God-given attributes are, you get to achieve the maximum of your potential without any government or any system standing in your way. It means the best person gets the job, regardless of their race or their gender or their sexual orientation. It means you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. It means we put an end to the DEI regime and the group quota systems that have held this country back. Not because we're against anybody, but because we stand for merit. That is who we are. That's who we are as Americans. It means we believe in the rule of law. And I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. Bernie Moreno shares that in common. The kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. And that means that, you know what, if you are in this country illegally, the compassionate thing to do for everyone who is here is to return them to their country of origin. That's not racist, it's not xenophobic, it's what it means to stand for the rule of law in the United States of America. The southern border is not a Republican or Democrat issue. It is a fundamentally American issue because a nation without borders is not a nation. Not because all the illegals are bad people. They're not. Not all of them. But we're going to send them back because they broke the law. And the United States of America is a nation founded on the rule of law. It means we believe in self-governance in this country. This is really the moment we got to ask ourselves, are we actually a constitutional republic? The people we elect to run the government are no longer the ones who actually run the government. That's an illusion in America today. It's unelected bureaucrats in three-letter agencies, from the FTC to the SEC to the EPA to the God knows what, the three-letter alphabet agency soup in Washington, D.C. What we require is actually the people who we elect. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. I prefer Republican. But at least let it be the ones who we elect who are actually making policy instead of unelected bureaucrats through the back door. These are not actually right-wing ideas. These are not Republican ideas or Democrat ideas or black ideas or white ideas. They're American ideals that we fought a revolution to secure. And the question for us right now is, do we actually believe those ideals still exist? Do we believe we're done and it's all just elegant decay going the way of ancient Europe? It's the old world and now it's our turn for our elegant decay and decline. Is that what we believe? That we're at the end of ancient Rome and we're going to go the way every other great civilization has gone? Or do we believe those ideals still exist and we can revive them? I think you're here because you believe with me. Those ideals still exist in America. We just have to have the courage to actually stand for them. That's what I learned in my campaign for president. We're not actually as divided as a country as the media or social media would have you believe. It's a myth, actually. I've been to the south side of Chicago. I went to Kensington in the inner city of Philadelphia during my campaign. One of the funny things is my advisors were telling me, you're wasting your time in the middle of a Republican primary. What the hell are you doing on the south side of Chicago? And they probably had a point because I placed a solid fourth in the Iowa caucus last time around. But I will tell you, I learned a lot from that. Did we agree on racial reparations on the south side of Chicago? No, we didn't. But did we agree that it's wrong that they're turning South Shore High School into an encampment for illegal migrants at a cost of $7,000 per migrant per month, when people in that community are rightly asking, what about me if I'm sitting here following the law as a citizen of this nation? People in Kensington, in the inner city of Philadelphia, wondering why they're living in third world conditions, supposedly on the wealthiest nation on planet Earth. So yes, I think we're not nearly as divided as the media would make it out to be, but here's what we're missing. People are afraid to speak in public about what they actually believe in private. That culture of fear, that's what's killed this country from the inside. We're not missing common sense in America. Most Americans are pretty intelligent, actually. Intelligence is not what we're missing. Common sense is not what we're missing. What we're missing is courage. People now, today, have a culture of fear that stops them from saying in public what they will say in private at the dinner table. And if we're going to save this country, it's going to be by all of us. Not just me, not just Bernie Moreno, not just Donald Trump, but by all of us starting to speak the truth in the open again. That's what I'm asking of you. For the people in this room, you're here because, like me, you have lived the American dream yourself, or you have enjoyed the benefits of your parents living the American dream. That's true of everybody in this room. And I'm going to give you two options. You only have two choices. There's no third choice. I'm going to give you two choices for what I'm going to ask of you to save this country. The first is if you're like Bernie Moreno and you're an outsider to politics, that you've succeeded in business, in academia, whatever it is you've done. And as a lawyer, as a physician, those of you in this room, I've met several of you, you're all accomplished. If you've achieved your American dream already, you have an obligation to make the sacrifice that Bernie Moreno's making, people like Jim Jordan have made, and actually invest your time, your energy, and your reputation to save this country in our hour of need. Run for office. I think we need more outsiders who are actually, like Bernie, willing to challenge the system and come in and do it. That's option number one. I think there are so many of you in here who I would love to see you step up and do it. But if you're not willing or able to do that right now, then your other option is to support the people who do. Because right now, we're not going to fix the system by the same people who created the mess being handed over the keys to fix the mess. It just isn't going to happen. We're going to require fresh lifeblood. People like Bernie, who he's told me several times he doesn't want to run for more than 2 terms. I think that's a good thing, Bernie. It's different than your opponent. He's been around longer than what? Longer than Richard Nixon?
No, the first time when Nixon was in office.
First time when Nixon was in office ever since. And I think that it's going to take, our founding fathers viewed it this way. Public service was about serving the public, not about serving yourself. It's not even intended to be a career. It's something that you do, a sacrifice that you make for your country. The reason I ran for president, the reason I'm so supportive of Bernie is I think we need more people like that from the outside who have everything to lose but are willing to sacrifice it anyway. That's how we get this country back. And that's what our founding fathers did in 1776. 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence. What became of them? We don't often stop to ask. 12 of them had their homes ransacked and burned to the ground by the British. 5 of them were captured by the British and tortured until their deaths. 9 of them died in the Revolutionary War. 3 more of them had their own kids die in the Revolutionary War. They didn't do it for them. They did it for us, so we could be here 250 years later, enjoying the blessings of liberty in the greatest nation ever since known to mankind. So the question for you and the question for us now is, what sacrifice are you willing to make to save this country and pass it on to our kids? We're not working with a lot of time. The next 3 months is a down payment on the next 250 years of our country's future. Tell you, Donald Trump, getting him elected in the White House, now, seeing what the competition looks like, it's become that much more urgent. That's our top priority this year, no doubt about it. We need a commander-in-chief who's going to lead us to victory in this war. And that's why I'm supporting him like so many of you are. But we're not going to enact that agenda without majorities in both the House, where Jim Jordan is serving. Give this man a round of applause, by the way. Jim Jordan. One of those courageous fighters who actually, when I say in public what you're going to say in private, this guy is one of the few who actually steps up and does it. So we're going to need the majority in the House, but we're also going to need that majority in the Senate. Without that, there is no full agenda for that second Trump term. And God forbid something does happen in the presidential election. That is our last best protection against the radicalization of our entire country, is still that majority in the Senate. So either way, it's not just about winning the White House. That's important. We all know that. We're all in for it. But it's also delivering victories, not just in the House, but in the majority in the Senate. And that happens right here in Ohio. We are ground zero in that race. You have one guy who's been a sitting duck to be able to take out an election in a way that we have been waiting to do cycle after cycle. We've failed to do it. I think a true America First candidate's our best chance to do it. That's Bernie Moreno. He believes the people we elect to run the government should run the government. And he believes they owe a moral duty to the citizens of this country, not any other one. I don't think that's too much to ask. We're bound by that, Republican and Democrat alike. We've been celebrating our diversity and our differences for so long that we forgot all of the ways that we are really still the same as Americans, bound by that common set of ideals. And it's going to take a Republican Party, a new Republican Party, new faces, new leaders like Bernie to lead us there, to say, you know what, we're not just running from something anymore. We are running to something. We're running back to our vision of what it means to be a citizen of this nation. And if you all make the sacrifice needed to support this man, I promise you I'm going to do whatever I can to get him over the finish line. If all of you do too, and I know you are, that's why you're here, then we don't have to be this nation in decline that we've become. We don't have to be at the end of the ancient Roman Empire. I think we still can be, not in some fake way, but in a true way, a nation in our ascent. A nation whose best days are actually still ahead of us. I'm not going to tell you it's morning in America right now. I don't think Ronald Reagan would tell you the same thing either, because it's not. But it can be. Yes, still on our way to that shining city on a hill. That country where we will look our kids in the eye and mean it. When we tell them the United States of America is still the nation where no matter who you are, or where your parents came from, or what your skin color is, you still get ahead in this country with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication. And that you know what? You are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what we are running to. And with your help, that is what we will revive to save our great country. Thank you all. God bless you and your families. May God bless this great state of Ohio. And may God put Bernie Moreno in the U.S. Senate to help save this country. Thank you all. God bless you. Frank, congratulations, man. Thank you.